The U.S. president's announcement comes after he says he held good and productive conversations with Tehran. President Donald Trump says the United States and Iran want to make a deal, and the two sides have major points of agreement after he ordered the U.S. military to postpone strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for 5 days. I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, Trump posted on Monday in all caps on his Truth Social platform. Recommended stories. List of 4 items. List 1 of 4. Unprecedented. Israel-US carry out extensive strikes across Iran. List 2 of 4. Threats over Iran war bear Trump efforts to transform free speech, analysts. List 3 of 4. Iraq pulled into Iran war as U.S. targets Iran-aligned groups. List 4 of 4. Has Iran brought down an unkillable U.S. F-35 jet? End of list. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Speaking to reporters at a Florida airport, Trump said Iran wanted to make a deal, and U.S. envoys have been holding talks with a respected Iranian leader, but not Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei. He asserted that Iran must give up its enriched uranium stockpile for a deal. The U.S. president also said the Strait of Hormuz would be opened very soon if an agreement is reached. If a deal happens, it's a great start for Iran in the region, he said, adding that he could not guarantee a deal with Tehran. The U.S. president claimed that the Iranians called him for talks, and not the other way round, carrying Tehran's chokehold on the Gulf waterway, through which a fifth of global oil and liquefied natural gas supplies pass. Wall Street stocks mostly rose early on Monday after Trump said Washington and Tehran had held very good talks. Oil prices, which have spiked since February 28th, the day the U.S. and Israel launched their war on Iran, were down sharply on Monday. But Iranian officials denied that any talks had taken place between Washington and Tehran. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bakr Ghalibaf said on Monday that no negotiations have been held with the U.S., accusing Trump of trying to manipulate the financial and oil markets and escape the quagmire in which the U.S. and Israel are trapped. Foreign Ministry spokesman Esmail Baghai also denied that any discussions had taken place, saying that Tehran's position on the Strait of Hormuz and conditions for ending the war have not changed. In comments shared by Iran's official IRNA news agency, Baghai said that messages have been received from some friendly countries regarding the U.S.'s request for negotiations to end the war. Al Jazeera's Osama bin Javed said, with his announcement, Trump may have opened a potential off-ramp on the war on Iran. This is the breaking news that everybody in the region and beyond has been waiting for, that Donald Trump, who declared his war unilaterally without legal backing, can end it unilaterally without any preconditions, he said. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Al Jazeera's Alan Fisher said, it seems Trump might be looking for an off-ramp. He has set a 5-day deadline. We will see where the talks go at that point. But remember, Donald Trump's deadlines tend to be elastic. They have been in the past, and it could well be come Friday there won't be a resolution to this question. Analyst Mohammed El-Masri of the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies said Trump's announcement may be his way of sort of giving himself a dignified exit. But the question that people need to ask is what the Iranians are going to do and what the Israelis are going to do, and to what extent might they be willing to continue the war effort against Iran without U.S. backing, if that's what ends up happening here. Reporting from Tehran, Al Jazeera's Mohammed Val said the Iranians will possibly climb down despite 3 weeks of war. The likelihood that they will refuse this offer from Trump is remote, he said. The Iranians do not want to continue this war. They say it was imposed on them and the region. They have said that if there are guarantees and further negotiations take place, and if there is no repeat of the same type of aggression or any kind of aggression against Iran in the future, and if there is a willingness to find a lasting deal, then I am sure the Iranians will not say no. Round invasion. Initiative by countries in Middle East. Iran had previously said that if Trump carries out his threat to obliterate Iran's power plants, it would completely shut down the strait in retaliation. Tehran also pledged to attack energy facilities in Israel and Gulf countries. Iran's de facto blockade of the Strait of Hormuz has caused a spike in global oil prices and a shortage of cooking gas in Asian countries. Fatih Birol, the head of the International Energy Agency, on Monday warned that the situation in the Middle East is very severe and is worse than the 2 energy crises of the 1970s and the fallout of the Ukraine war put together. On Monday, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps responded that if Washington went ahead with Trump's threat, Iran would target power plants in all regions that supply electricity to U.S. bases, as well as the economic, industrial, and energy infrastructures in which Americans have shares. In addition, the Defense Council warned that any attack on Iran's southern coast or islands would prompt the laying of sea mines that would sever Gulf shipping routes, according to state media. Al Jazeera's Bin Javed, citing conversations with diplomats, said even during the Eid holiday, multiple countries at different levels have been holding conversations with embassies or directly with the White House. People have told us they have been telling Trump that this process of escalation does not bode well for Iran or for Israel, he reported. There are multiple factors to take into account. One is the threat Trump issued about hitting power plants and energy infrastructure, and Iran's response in a tit-for-tat escalation. Earlier, Trump told the Fox Business Network that Tehran wants to make a deal badly and it could happen within 5 days. He said his envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were engaged in talks most recently on Sunday night. Trump's comments came as the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran has spurred a widening crisis across the Middle East, with Iranian missile and drone attacks targeting countries across the region and sending global oil prices soaring. In an effort to lower energy prices, Trump on Saturday gave Tehran 48 hours to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to all vessels, warning that otherwise the U.S. would obliterate Iran's power plants.